Everyone. This is Professor Stewart, and welcome to English 2210 Special Topics in Film Final Project. So today we're going to be looking at the 3-week timeline for the project and taking a look at our handout. So first things, this is going to be our first assignment here. You can see you're going to be sending me a project proposal and then reviewing your resources. So that's the first thing that you'll be doing here. Let's take a look at our assignment here and assignment objectives. For this assignment, students will create a digital project such as a Google slideshow screencast, podcast, or video production to explore how a coming-of-age theme appears in 3 or more films. Okay, so essentially you're going to look for one of those themes, whether it's mean parents or any of the themes that we discussed, and look at that over several films. So let's start out here with assignment objectives. The first thing you're going to do is choose a theme from the coming of age genre that you found to be most significant. I've included all these resources here so you can refine them. Again, the idea of moving from setup to growth to maturity, characters in the larval state, etc. So you got all those resources there to look through. Okay, so you're going to choose your theme. What am I going to look at in these three or more movies? Next, you're going to choose a format. We're not going to do a paper for this. You're going to be either screencasting, podcasting, or creating a video. Okay, so choose your format. Third, you're going to study a mentor text. A mentor text is a model for your project. So for example, if you're going to do a YouTube video, you're going to want to go and look at a whole bunch of YouTube videos to see what works, see what you like, etc. And I'm going to supply those for you. You'll notice in our first week, I have some how-to videos, and then here's your mentor text. I included, you can see I've included a screencast, a podcast, and a vlog here for you to check out. But I encourage you to go and find your own, whatever you like. That's sort of what you want to imitate. So that's what your mentor text is. Step 4, you're going to discuss that theme in 3 or more movies. Remember, you must choose movies that we didn't watch in class. Step 5, include analysis of character, shots, angles, mise-en-scène, editing, camera movement, etc. So make sure remember this is a film course, so you want to talk about the elements, the visual elements that support that theme. How does the director get that across? You're going to include some outside sources here. You might use CCRI library database. You might use a YouTube video, other podcasts to give you some ideas, or just any type of an internet article. And that's basically what we're going to be working on here. Okay, so next we're going to take a look at the project format. Just like in your response papers, I encourage you to keep any plot summary to a minimum, just a few sentences. Now, coming back here for a moment, remember in the first week, you're just really giving me a really general idea and absorbing all of the resources. Let's jump into week 2 here and see that now what you're going to do is you're going to be sharing a rough draft of your script with me. Whether you're doing a screencast, video, or podcast, you're going to want to have something to look at while you're talking. And so typically what I do is I have something loaded in Google Docs, and I might, scan through it on my phone while I'm talking, just so I don't miss any important points. And so the rough draft is going to be that next step there. So when you're doing that rough draft of your script, keep in mind, stay away from plot summary. You do want to give a brief overview of directors, but that's not the focus here. So if it's important to your discussion, use it. Otherwise, don't. Make sure that you remember that this is going to be a final cumulative project. So you want to include anything, textbooks, handouts, articles, slideshows, anything like that, you want to include that information. Show me you're kind of putting the whole course together in this final project. Incorporating details from screencasts, the coming of age defined, common elements for approaches, etc. So use that information as your source. Now, if you use anything from slideshows or handouts, you don't have to cite it, but anything from the internet you do. Again, I want you to remember, I want you to incorporate two sources. They can be video, they can be text, doesn't matter. The project, again, I'm going to be giving you 3 weeks to work on this. So the first week is going to be sort of getting oriented and getting comfortable with the idea of sort of digital literacy and creating a digital project. Some of you are already, and some of you are going to have a little bit of a learning curve here. All submitted work must be your own. The next section here, how to create your project. Again, that's basically how I have the assignment set up. These are the 5 steps of creating a digital project: accessing, coming up with a topic, analyzing your topic, creating, reflecting on the outcome, and then finally publishing. And publishing will be uploading your final project, a link to your final project to Blackboard. All right, the last section of this handout is going to be your the rubric, and this is the rubric I will use to grade your project. So your intro is going to have some sort of interesting hook for your listener or your viewer. Your thesis statement is going to tell your audience exactly what you're going to be talking about, overview. Again, evidence from your 3 or more films, a strong conclusion to wrap up. Don't just make it sound like you hit pause and you're done. You wanna restate your final points there. And again, thinking about, read your stuff out loud, go through it completely beforehand so your grammar sounds good, things like that, and submitting by your due date. Okay, and so let's go back into Blackboard here. So again, remember step 1. Step 1 is to submit your idea to me. That's going to be through Blackboard, and go through all the sources, get comfortable, reach out to me if you have any questions. Step 2 in week 2 will be to get me that script, is to start typing up some points and details, and notice all these resources up here you have. And then finally, you're going to be uploading your final project. And you'll notice that the due date is going to be a little different than our regular submission date. But let's go into, I think I'm going to collaborate here. No. Yeah, so I'll be adding that. I think I'll add it into Collaborate to have that for you. So that is the overview of our final project. Please feel free to reach out with any questions, concerns, but I look forward to seeing all your work, and thanks for listening.